Kid is Boomhauer. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. No one tell Kit, even though I don't think he would be mad.
I don't think he would either. Boomhauer's like pretty good. He's like just a normal, just living and enjoying life, you know. Yeah. He doesn't really ever do anything wrong.
Boomhauer is having a good time. Welcome to episode 114 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan. I'm Kit.
I'm Kit. This is Katie.
Hey everybody, no Kit this week. He is on a well-deserved vacation away from the great state of Texas, and
he's being selfish and living his best life.
Yeah, he's not doing retail work for a week, which is
he's no longer with us.
Yeah, someone that does that I feel is deserved. So no movie. We are doing
movies have stopped.
Yeah, all movies like the news has ended. We are gonna answer some questions from a bunch of people that asked us questions on pretty much all Instagram from me.
Yeah, me too.
Because fuck Twitter. I feel like if anybody had answered them on Twitter, it would have just been like...
Well, to be fair, I have two from Twitter that are... I'm throwing both out because they're both about Veronica, and they're from Kit and Layla, so...
Katie, why don't you watch Veronica?
The answer is that I don't feel like I need to stoop to Danzig's level, so there you go.
Just wait till his next movie and you can watch that with us. Where he's got a bunch of guns shooting spaghetti.
Spaghetti, yeah.
Alright. I guess I figured before that, did you watch anything good this week?
Well, I watched a lot of things.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to think if I would say any of them are good. I somehow watched a lot of stuff from, like, 2012 era. I watched Silent Hill Revelations, which is Silent Hill 2. Actually super decent. I mean... I don't know that anybody goes back to watch those kinds of movies and thinks that the CG is going to hold up, because I feel like it didn't really hold up like when it came out. But super cool character designs. Like, I like it. If you're like a fan of Silent Hill and you liked the first movie, definitely check it out. I also watched House at the End of the Street.
Is that the Jennifer Lawrence one?
Yeah.
Something. Oh, is that it?
Yeah. It was alright. I liked the twist.
Yeah, I remember watching it. I don't remember almost anything about it other than Jennifer Lawrence, I think, being in it and then, like, being kidnapped or whatever at one point.
Yeah, it's her, and I don't know his real name, but he plays Dylan in the Bates Motel series. So at least that's the one thing that I do like about going back and watching movies from this time is, like, I know who most of the actors are. So, like, that one was pretty decent. I also watched what I thought I was watching for the first time but realized I had seen it was Dark Skies.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's an alien movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
It was fine. Like, I'm not really much of an alien person, and I don't know, it was, like, totally fine. I think there were some moments that I was kind of like, ooh, no thank you. And let's see what else. I watched Tales of Halloween, finally, which is like a anthology that I had seen people being like, this is super underrated. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, it's not underrated. I thought it was pretty goofy, to be honest with you.
Everybody I've seen has been like, this movie's great, or people whose opinions I don't trust enough to be like, yeah, I should check this out.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I really have been going on like an anthology journey this year, so I thought, why the heck not? And I watched it last night, and it's like one of those anthologies that has just like too many shorts, so I feel like none of them were fleshed out enough, and it's like pretty obvious that it was low budget, which is like not that big of a deal, but like I don't know. I just didn't care for it. Wasn't my thing. I also watched Girl on the Third Floor. Have you seen that one?
No, is that the one with CM Punk?
Yeah.
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 Is it good? I wanted to watch it.
I didn't realize that was him until after, and I was like, who is this guy? I'm still actually trying to like piece through how I feel about it, because I felt like I don't really know how I feel. First of all, it's like a haunted house story, right? This guy like moves into this beautiful like old Victorian house that he has to like fix because his wife is pregnant, and then stuff happens. I don't really know, to be honest with you, how I feel about like the story in general, but it had some really good gore in it. Poor Chris kept like watching, because I watched it this weekend. He wasn't working, and he kept looking and being like, why are you watching this? So there's like some pretty gross stuff. So if you're like into that kind of thing, definitely, it's like, I don't know, I think it's worth watching, even though I don't know how I feel about the story.
What'd you watch it on?
I want to say Hulu.
Oh.
It was either Hulu or Netflix.
I didn't realize it had like come to a streaming thing. I'm gonna watch that. I remember when that was coming out. Just I was gonna watch it anyway, just because CM Punk was in it, so I was interested. But I remember seeing like some pretty good reviews and stuff when it was doing like the festival circuit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Hulu, and I should have realized like that he was somebody already, because he's got like a shit ton of tattoos, and I feel like, oh no, I'm sorry, it's Netflix.
Oh yeah, either way. I figured if it was a streaming service you had, then I probably also had it, so I could watch it.
I mean, probably, yeah. He, he's got like he's like tatted up, and like you don't really see that a lot in movies, so I should have realized that he was like a real dude. But yeah, I don't know. It had some pretty creepy moments and some really gross like horror stuff that happens. So, and it all looked pretty good. Like, there wasn't a lot of CG, and if there was, I couldn't like tell it was CG, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I watched was Tragedy Girls.
Oh yeah, I watched I think half of that once. That I was just like, I don't feel like I need to finish this.
No, I mean, that was another one that I had seen people being like, hey, if you haven't checked this out, definitely do, because it's a hidden gem or whatever. And I don't think it is. Like, it was totally fine. It is a horror comedy, but like, I don't know if they pulled it off. And it's like the relationship between the two girls like didn't make sense to me, and their behavior doesn't really make sense to me. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I obviously, like I said, I didn't finish it, but like, I don't know, I was not super into it. So
no, it's just whatever. And then I watched this was the first time watched Ghost Rider.
Oh, it's so good.
And as I'm watching this movie, well, obviously it came out in like 2007, right? So the CG is the worst ever. It looks so bad. I don't really remember it looking good when it came out, but like, it was like one of those things where if they were gonna make the movie, they had to just like roll with it, because so much of it is just impossible to do. Yeah. I think with like but as I'm watching it, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but this isn't the worst.
Yeah,
it's like totally fine. It's a little edgy, but it's it's like a comic book movie, so I feel like you sort of expect a level of that.
I feel like it's a not bad like old school style comic book movie, because it's very much not good in the sense that, like, you know, like Spider-Man Homecoming is, or like Captain America Civil War was, or you like whatever. It's
Right.
like, but like I watched that, and then like a while back I watched like the Fantastic Four movie from like, I don't know, 2014 or whatever, and I didn't hate that either. Like, it's not super great, but it's also like not as bad as I feel like everybody made it out to be.
Right, and I feel like maybe it's a little bit of hindsight, right? Because now we have more of a scope as to what superhero movies are. Like obviously Spider-Man, completely different realm of superhero movie. It's like just a masterpiece, and I feel like it's hard to do Spider-Man, right? In my opinion, but it definitely has a different feel to it, because I also watched this was like before we recorded last time. I just didn't talk about it. Was I tried to start watching the Blade movies because people freaking love Blade, and I just had never seen them. And I'm like watching the first one, and I thought it was totally fine, but like we were watching it and Chris was like, this is terrible, and I was like, well, technically it's like a comic book movie, right? And he was like, oh, that makes sense, it's not as bad as I thought then. So I feel like it is easier to watch those kinds of things now and be like, you know, your level of what you expect from it is different.
Right. I don't know. I think I'd watch that maybe like one of the last 2 episodes I talked about it, and like it's totally fine. I'm interested. I need to watch the second one because I'm sure it's probably somehow worse.
I was literally just about to say that I didn't know there was a second one, and I was going to ask if you've seen it.
Not yet. I don't know if it's streaming for free on anything.
I don't. It says Hulu premium subscription, so I
it's
don't
probably
think
like
so.
Stars or some shit like that.
The CG actually looks a little bit better, though.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, like, I was into it just solely because Nick Cage is in it, but like, I don't know, as a story goes, I didn't think it was that bad, and like it looks fine. It's just it does, like, it's kind of hard to look back on some of those things now that we've had like a decade plus of like what a good comic book movie would be.
Yeah.
It's like when I first moved here, Caitlin and I, like, she had not seen any of them, I don't think, and we watched all the X-Men movies, and those first 3 are rough when you look back at them.
I don't think I've rewatched any of them like recently enough, but I do feel like one of the things that sets Ghost Rider apart, though, is that like you're dealing with like demons and shit, like just straight up demons, and there's not a lot of comics or series that do that, or especially do that in movies. So that was kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know, it's just a little edgy. That like scene though, when so when we were first watching it, I'm like, it's a little cheesy, right? And I'm like, I don't really understand like why Nick Cage was like cast as this guy, but then whenever he does like the very first transformation, I was like, okay, I get it. It was like such a crazy scene.
He's also like a massive comic book dude, so he probably took what he was offered for like a comic book role.
Yeah.
I watched 4 things I will talk about in the ones I like at least enjoyed to most enjoyed. Number 1, the Mortuary Collection.
Whatever.
It's fine. I don't know. I just was not super into it other than Clancy Brown. I also watched 1BR, or One Bedroom, I guess.
Yeah.
On Netflix, and it was okay. I don't know. It's weird. Like it's somehow watchable, but also kind of boring at the same time.
Yeah, you know, I've been finding that, I don't know if it's just because there's so much to watch at this point, that like I've been getting bored watching things that like I'm like, yeah, this is fine, but I'm kind of bored, and it's been happening a lot more recently.
Well, I guess like not like I don't know, sort of spoilers for people if you haven't watched it yet. It's about this woman that moves into an apartment complex that's also a cult, and it's
Oh.
like at least the entire middle part of the movie is her being like assimilated into this like cult community. And so it's not like, it's kind of like not much really happening for like the entire middle section. So it's like the beginning, you're just kind of like, what the fuck's happening? And at the end, like the last like 10 minutes or so, it's just kind of like, you know, her sort of trying to break free out of it. And like, I don't know, I thought the ending was pretty good, and like the main actress is pretty good, but other than that, it was like slightly boring. I also watched on Shudder The Cleansing Hour, which I think you should watch. I think you would like it a lot. It's really good and kind of a interesting take on an exorcism movie.
Yeah, that's on my list of like part 2s for Shudder stuff to do.
It's got like a
so
like sort of goofy twist ending, but also one that's kind of telegraphed throughout the entire movie. So it's not totally a twist, but kind of is. But I liked it. It's like, it's about a dude who's got like an internet TV show that's faked about exorcisms that people think are real, and then it's like what happens when he actually has to deal with one.
yeah, I sort of like pushed, because originally I was going to do this in my first part of it, but I kind of pushed it off because I had just watched 2 other movies where it was the same plot of like, but it was just like paranormal stuff. Like it was like people who had shows that faked paranormal things, but then something paranormal actually happens, and I was like, I don't think I can deal with this right now, so I just like pushed it off. But
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you'll at least enjoy it, if not like it a lot. But it's, I don't know, I didn't find myself like bored watching it at all. I was kind of like intrigued on like what was happening throughout the entire thing.
yeah, exorcism stuff freaks me out. I don't know why, so I might like it.
I like obviously there's shit like The Exorcist that like is obviously like a masterpiece, but then there was like that phase where like almost every horror movie coming out for a period was an exorcism movie, and most of them are not good. So
I didn't watch any of them because it freaks me out. So
I mean, this one's like,
it was not my favorite time for the genre.
this one I think you could watch without it being freaked out, because the actual demon is kind of goofy. Like the voice they pick for like the woman with the demon in her, that was like the only thing I kind of bumped into where I was like, this is kind of goofy, but it kind of works. The last thing I watched finally was The Void, which 100% rules and everybody should watch.
Okay, I need to rewatch it because I watched it when it very first came out and I hated it. I thought it was boring and stupid.
Oh man, like the last like half of it I thought was like insanely good. Like the effects are all pretty fucking amazing.
I'll rewatch it. I'll give it its due.
I think it's like, especially for you as somebody that's like doesn't like CGI, likes like real effects, I think
Yeah.
you would maybe have like a different opinion, but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Well, and I think that like what I consider good or bad or worth watching is a lot different now, because when did that come out? Like 5 years ago at least.
Yeah, something like that.
And what I was watching at the time is much different than what I'm watching now, so definitely I need to give it another chance.
It's like a movie that takes its time kind of setting up kind of it's like what's going to happen, but once like things start kicking off, it's super good. And again, like the practical effects are insane.
Yeah,
Steve
I did like
Kostanski is very good at practical effects.
Yeah, he sure is.
All right, let's get into these questions. I'm not gonna do a Patreon shout out this week, so because I figure I'll save those for actual movie episodes, so that'll come back next week. Let's see, where am I? I'm trying to figure out if any of mine will be a good last question.
I just want to start by saying I have intense poo brain and like I just don't have good answers for anything, so we'll see how this goes.
It'll
It
be
was
all
just
right.
like it was like one of those things where I read the question and then I'm like, what movies do I like to watch? And I couldn't think of a single solid movie that I'd ever seen in my life. So we'll see. Don't
I
take these as my definitive answers as my disclaimer.
well, I feel like throughout the times of doing this podcast, if things come up, mine have changed pretty much every time. So,
Yeah.
um, I'll do. Because I have a bunch, so I'll do like a first chunk, then we could do like the handful you have, and we'll just like do the second half of mine or whatever.
Okay.
All right. So first question from Emily on Elm Street on Instagram. When did you get into shark movies?
Am I answering
Yeah,
first?
go ahead.
Great question, Emily. I don't know.
Would you
I
join
don't
the
know that
podcast?
yeah, I don't know that that I ever considered myself to be into shark movies, like until I discovered the world of bad shark movies, if that makes sense. Like the very first shark movie I saw was like one of the Sharknadoes, and I thought it was dumb and I hated it. But then I forget what the actual title is. Whatever that one that's like Hammerhead Shark Man
Hammer.
that has like
Man shark. No, not man shark.
it's got like a
It's
bunch of different titles.
I know Kit always calls it Hammerhead Shark Frenzy, but I think it's got a different title. Like, maybe it is just Shark Man or something like that.
Okay. Hammerhead Shark Frenzy. We'll just call it that. That's not what it was called when I watched whatever Sharkman, I think maybe might have
Yeah.
just been what it was called. So that was on demand, and we just randomly watched it one day, and I thought it was hilarious. Like I loved that movie. And that was like, I don't know, maybe I saw that before like you guys even started the podcast, so I guess maybe that started the seed for me. And then I saw whatever one that was like the shark versus the octopus, sharktopus, whatever.
the whale one, or like Sharktopus versus like Whale Wolf or something.
Something like that, yeah. Was streaming on Sci-Fi, like on TV, and then I fell in love with Ghost Shark. So, but I didn't. I never like sought shark movies out until now for me.
Yeah, mine was definitely like I saw Jaws as like a very young kid, which traumatized me to this day. Cause
Yeah, I'm sure.
fuck the ocean. But it's I think like getting like in like kind of I feel like shark movies there wasn't a lot of them until Sci-Fi came on the scene making them.
Yeah.
So like it's pretty much Sci-Fi's fault that I feel like any of us are into shark movies. So
Well, for sure, because like when we had Misty on that one episode, she was talking about like already like liking sci-fi movies. So
yeah, and like I think to this I still don't think I've ever seen a Sharknado movie because they just looked like I would not enjoy them.
So, like, my problem with Sharknado, I literally only saw the first one, is that, like, the idea of a Sharknado doesn't bother me because it's, whatever. But, like, the mechanics of the movie don't make any sense. Like, for example, there's this like one scene where like somebody's like driving and there's water on the side of the car, but then there's also sharks in the water, but the water's not covering the car, so like there's no way these sharks would be able to fit in the water to swim, and like that kind of thing bothers me. Like I don't care if there's a tornado of sharks, but like the physics in the rest of the world have to make sense for me, because otherwise it just is like gobbledygook. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like,
So you're out by the
so
time they get to space.
I don't listen. I actually don't even know if I saw the entirety of the first one, but
I just
give me Man Shark. I'm
like
all about that.
like obviously all of them are goofy, like all the sci-fi ones, but those ones seemed like they're just like purposefully bad, which I don't enjoy.
No.
So
Like not it bad as in like, hey, let's make this goofy shark movie. Like it's like let's make the worst movie we can because it'll be funny, and it like comes off that way. But but then I'm thinking about like sharks in general. I obviously loved street sharks as a kid, and I love um king shark. So like I guess it's been ingrained in me to like sharks. I don't know.
did you see I forget what magazine it was, like Vanity Fair or some shit, did like a photo shoot for Suicide Squad, and you got the first look of King Shark in it.
No, I
It
didn't.
looks
I
like
Google it.
they went very goofy looking, as opposed to kind of like the Flash TV show. It's pretty interesting. I'm hesitantly excited to see what that movie's gonna be like.
I tried to Google it, but it's not coming up. So
I'll see if I can find it and send it to you later. I saw it on Twitter at some point.
I
Uh,
saw like the first look they did, and it's literally just like a tiny shark head on like a big body, and I'm like, well,
they did like a big like in-person cast photo or whatever with everybody in their costumes and shit, but then there's just like King Shark in the back.
I like how they did King Shark in the Flash series. Like,
Yeah, I do too.
anytime he showed up, I was all for it.
Uh,
Anyways,
all right, I'm gonna put these two questions sort of together, but this is from former guest Jeremy Hunt, and then Marie on Twitter at Bereave Graves Clee. Jeremy asked, "What's the worst movie each of you have ever seen?" And Marie asked, "Absolute best of the worst movies you've covered so far. What you would watch, or like what would you rewatch?" So I'm going to kind of sort of do these together. I would say, as far as like, I'm going to take Marie's as what we've watched. Like, yeah, I guess it says
covered.
what we've covered so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say Santa Jaws, but I don't consider Santa Jaws to be a bad movie, even though I think most people would. I'm trying to think of like what. I was trying to think of a movie that we covered that we went into being like, this is going to be garbage, that turned out to be okay. Maybe
Yeah.
the
I think.
Jack Frost movies for me.
Oh.
Because those definitely, I assumed were going to be pretty bad, but they're like, which they kind of are, but also like pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think like whenever we answer that question, we normally go obviously with the same Santa Jaws, Carousel, Velocipaster, but those are not necessarily
Carousel,
movie.
I definitely thought was going to be garbage. That turns
But
out it
like,
was not.
but obviously it's supposed to be stupid, right? So like, I don't know if that's the same as like what
Yeah.
you're saying, where you went in thinking it was bad and it was totally fine. For me, I would say I didn't expect Night Flyer to be terrible, but it was a lot better than I thought. I don't know if I count that one though. I might actually say maybe Sleigh Bells.
Yeah, Sleigh Bells was pretty okay considering like what we thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, and like I ended up liking like the sort of like twist about it or whatever. But I mean, not a lot of the movies turn out to be super great.
I feel like the Stephen King ones I kind of always like just push out of my memory because I just always assume, or they're always movies that like are, I know are going to be bad, but I still somewhat enjoy watching.
Right.
Because like obviously I knew Dreamcatcher was gonna be bonkers, but like I also like, well, it wasn't a bad watch because it's kind of insane.
Oh, well, I guess she specifically said you would rewatch it, right?
Yeah. I
Would
mean,
I rewatch Sleigh
I say
Bells? I might.
we have like the, you know, our stock four answers are pretty much always like Santa Jaws, Carousel, Velocipaster, and like Manborg, but I think those are all good movies. Um,
Right.
yeah, like both Jack Frost movies are I would rewatch. Like, I think all we're gonna say is like Christmas movies. Santa Sleigh rules. I've rewatched that.
You know, you're gonna not like my answer, but I might say No Mercy.
I don't know. Like, even like as much as I didn't like absolutely despise it, I don't know if I could rewatch it.
I think I could, but I'm trying to like
Um,
think back of. There's just not a lot that I think I could rewatch.
yeah, like I feel like a lot of the movies we've done have been either like shit I know I'm never going to rewatch again, or shit I'm like this rules. Like I'm watching this all the time, like Manborg.
Yeah, or like Mirror Mirror, I would rewatch that. That was just like totally
Yeah,
fine.
that was okay. All right, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
That I can't even begin to think.
Mine's The
That
Hangover.
was.
I
I don't
fucking
think
hated that movie.
I, I don't think I've seen that.
Maybe anything like Adam Sandler has ever done that wasn't Punch Drunk Love.
Shoot.
I have like a tough
I
time with comedies that I don't find funny, that I like are usually like shit I consider to be like the worst.
Yeah. I we've been watching a lot of movies recently that turned out to be just like super dog shit. And I can't even like we watched this one called The Tourists, I think, that had like Johnny Depp and maybe Angelina Jolie or somebody like her, and it was like the worst shit I've ever seen. I hated Napoleon Dynamite. I thought that was just crap.
Yeah.
Um, I think some of the movies I previously thought were the worst, I don't know that I would still say that. Like, whenever I saw Alien versus Predator, I hated it. I don't think I would still hate it now, though.
The first one's
Um,
kind of fun. The second one is not good.
hmm. I mean, I'm trying to think of movies I've seen outside of the podcast because, like, a lot of those have been pretty bad, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like mine's still. I feel like I watched The Hangover as everybody was losing their mind about it, and I didn't laugh a single time.
That's how I felt about Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. Because I feel like with a horror movie, it could go bad and still be like fun. If it's a comedy and it's just not good, it's just unwatchable.
We've been recently watching like 007 James Bond movies because I've never seen them, and some of those are pretty tough
Yeah,
for me.
Caitlin like loves James Bond, and at some point I'm like supposed to watch them all with her, and I'm dreading it
Good
because
luck.
I've seen
That's
like one ever, and it was Goldeneye.
Yeah, so we watched like two of the Daniel Craig ones, which I don't really care for him. Obviously me being like not liking an action, like it's tough because of that. But we're on the Pierce Brosnan ones right now, and they're just like gold because they're so bad, and like the stuff he does in it, I'm just like, okay, sure, sure, Pierce Brosnan, and then his like one-liners, so those are at least fun, and because I like recognize everybody that's in them too, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'd have to think more on what I thought was the worst movie I've seen. I've seen just some real shit.
I mean, it's definitely up there with shit like The Elf and Tsunami for me. With like the Hangover is the only movie. Like I was trying to think of a movie cause I don't think I've ever walked out on a movie in a theater.
I almost did, and it was Alien versus Predator, so that's why I'm like. I also didn't like Freddy versus Jason at the time either, but I think I might like it now.
I fell asleep during Uptown Girls.
I
I
was
think
like
that's what
pretty
that movie was
much
called.
with
Brittany Murphy.
yeah.
I had to make a deal with my ex-girlfriend at the time that we would go see that after we saw Freddy vs. Jason because they came out, I think, the same weekend.
I fell asleep to the Brothers Grimm movie in the theater, and that was the only time in my whole life that I ever fell asleep was that. And I'm trying to think. I saw this movie called The Apparition. Chris and I went to see it as like one of our first dates, and it had like that one girl from Twilight in it, and it was pretty bad. And we saw like The Conjuring in the theater. I didn't think The Conjuring was very good. I don't know that I would say that was super like a terrible movie, but
yeah, I don't know if I would ever like I said, like, because even the shit we've watched on here that's bad, it's like bad, but
most of it had something in it that was like, well, at least that was cool.
Yeah, like I feel like if it's bad, but I'm still able to finish, at least finish the movie for the stuff we watch for the podcast. I've had some like comedy movies that I've just been like, fuck this, I can't watch this anymore.
Turned it off.
Yeah. Diary of Doom, Dylan asked, you just hacked into Trump's Twitter for the third time. What's the first thing you tweet? Probably, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that would be funny, but also I would probably just be like, tweet out his login and password.
Yeah, or like, I don't even know. My mind immediately goes to something like, I'm a piece of shit. Someone murder me or something like that.
I would just tweet, I knew Jeffrey Epstein. That story about his fucking password being MAGA 2020 is...
I just like don't know. I would only do it if I had some sort of information to share. Like, I don't feel like I want to in any way pretend to be him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I would...
here's my bank account and routing number, take some money or some
like
shit like that.
Instead of like tweeting something, I would just dig through his DMs.
Yeah.
That seems more fun. Alright, ContraZoom asked, has there been any movies that are too weird out there for you to cover on the show? I don't know if too weird is a thing specifically. It's more like, my thing is I try to avoid movies that are purposefully bad. Like we said, like with Sharknado and stuff, I don't think we'll ever cover. Or like people ask about doing Troll 2, which I've said we will never cover because it's just like it's like that and like The Room. Like I'm like, no thank you, because they seem bad on purpose as opposed to like we try to do, like, obviously there's things like Velocipaster is like, we didn't think it was, we didn't go into it thinking it was going to be like a fucking Steven Spielberg movie, but like it's still like fun, like, and like they knew what they were making, but they weren't purposefully trying to make like a movie that would get popular because it's bad. I don't know how to explain it, but like I have this like threshold of what I feel like is, I don't know, like there are movies for me that feel like they were made with the purpose of being like, we don't have a budget, but I feel like we could make this become a cult classic kind of thing, or like a midnight movie showing type thing, like The Room became.
Yeah.
And like I don't like, those aren't fun for me, so like I feel like that's the kind of stuff that I would never want to cover.
I think if I were to say weird or out there, I would say like it can't be a movie that's like not cohesive in any way, because then it's like we've had some movies that were really hard to talk about because they just like didn't make any sense, like Somnium. Like obviously the point of picking that one was because I was trying to pick the worst movie, but there were like elements of it that made it hard to, it just like wasn't cohesive. So things like that, or like I wanted to do Wolf Cop, but apparently that's not a real movie. It's like,
Well,
what, like,
I think we're actually going to end up doing Wolf Cop at some point, or at least I've promised Jonathan we would do it at some point based on
okay.
like the beginning of the podcast. So, like 2 years
But like
ago.
maybe it's not a real movie, or it's like scenes from other movies or something you were saying, or maybe I'm thinking
No,
of
that
something
was
different.
that was President Wolfman or
President,
fucking
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, President Werewolf or something, where it's like not actually a real movie. I think that's the only other time, aside from movies that are famously bad, that are too out there. Because like, if we can't, well, Pigster sort of ended up being that way too, where we were sort of just like, let's just like sort of talk about stuff that happened because it was.
Well, Pigster seemed like they barely had a plot when they made it. They were just trying to do weird visual shit. Like, there's definitely movies I've wanted to like sort of do on the podcast that like it's also hard to kind of do foreign movies because like taking notes and also reading
Yeah.
the subtitles is hard. So there's a lot of like Japanese movies that I've contemplated trying to do on here that I'm just like I don't have like the time or effort to like put into having to watch this more than once if I have to, and it's like real bad.
Yeah, I feel like, and for those movies, you really have to be paying attention the first time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't be like writing down and stopping what happens because, like, as we've seen, it kind of makes things. But as far as like too weird, I don't think so.
There's like a movie on Shudder that I can't think of the title of that was something that when Kit and I first started I contemplated doing, but it's like a batshit insane movie. Fuck, what was it called? It's something with like a K. But it was made by somebody like maybe the guy in Danger Mouse. Let me see if Kuso, Kuso, I think is what it is.
Kuso.
If this is the movie I'm thinking it was, I remember watching an episode of the show on Shudder, The Core, where they talked about it, and it just looks just like insane. And like the cast is like Hannibal Buress and George Clinton and like Tim Heidecker, and it like I don't know, it looks crazy, but it also looked like it would be impossible to discuss in like a linear fashion.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
Huh.
All right, I'll do a couple more, and then we'll jump.
Oh, I thought of another terrible movie I saw.
Oh yeah, what is it?
It is that I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I thought that movie was trash.
Is that the Charlie Kaufman one?
Maybe.
That like just came out on Netflix like a month or so ago. Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah. I thought it had been on there for a while, but I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I watched it, and it was like really. It has Toni Collette.
Yeah, Charlie. If it's what I'm thinking of, Charlie Kaufman has such a very like distinct and kind of weird style that you either like are way into his movies or like hate them.
Yeah, I just like thought it was very slow and it didn't make any sense to me at all. So.
My partner Caitlin asked this, I assume specifically of Katie. Who do you like better, Lex or Xerxes?
I think she's asking you.
For those who don't know, Lex and Xerxes are our cats, and obvious answer is Lex.
Why?
I don't know, like.
He's your buddy?
Yeah, so, like, Caitlin had both of them. Like, she's had Xerxes, like, forever. Xerxes is, like, 13 or something, and I think Lex is only, like, 5.
Oh, wow.
But Lex had, like, severe social, like, anxiety issues to the point that, like, the first time I came to visit, I think I saw him twice the whole week. And, like, he's also kind of slightly bullied by Xerxes. So like if he tries to kind of like come up and like hang out with Caitlin and stuff, Xerxes will like swat him away. And so like once I moved in, I was like the second person, and he like latched onto me and just became like my buddy. And then like Xerxes is like her buddy, and it's just, I don't know, they're both amazing, but I don't know, Lex is like my little sweet angel baby. Little
Yeah,
alien eye.
that is cute. Well, okay, I have to say I love all cats. All cats are precious and perfect. I am a sucker for a orange cat though. Like I have never myself owned an orange cat, but I don't know why I'm just like a sucker for them. So I have to say Xerxes.
Xerxes
But
is
it's
pretty cute.
He is very cute. And I think it's really funny that you say that because like my two cats, Merlin and Maytel, Merlin is like our older cat, and he's 9 now, and like neither of them I think are as big as Lex or Xerxes. Merlin's like 13 pounds, and Maytel is 3. She's 7 pounds, but she's a tortie, and she is the bully. Like she bullies Merlin. Like we have to break them up because she'll just like mess with him constantly. And it's really funny because like we've had Merlin longer, but obviously like whenever you have 2 people and 2 cats, I feel like you definitely do gravitate towards, like the cat will gravitate towards one person and one person gravitates towards them. And Maytel is definitely like my little best friend. Like she follows me around and like it's just like, so it's funny because Chris is like definitely Merlin's.
Yeah.
Merlin's like guy, and Chris is always like, Maytel's bullying him, and like I'm like, well, maybe he should just suck it up and defend himself and stuff. So
yeah, periodically like Lex just gets tired of it, and like we'll see Xerxes with like a scratch on his nose or something, and I'm just like, well, you pushed it too hard.
That's what you get. Yeah, and so and I, but yeah, I do have to say I just love an orange cat. So sorry, Lex.
Lex also, like, Lex had, like, was found, like in the, like, on the streets and, like, brought in, like, it's, like, like, super, like, young, like, with, 2 or 3 months old, and had, like,
Aww.
has, like, a fucked up eye from, I think, like, herpes or something. Like, I forget the exact story, but
yeah,
he had, like, so many issues that, like, I moved in, and he just, like, latched onto me, and he just became, like, my little partner in crime.
Yeah, that's how Maytel is with me. And then Merlin, but Merlin is the one that has like his floppy ear and a missing canine, and like also was a rescue. Like Maytel was a rescue too, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
But
all right. My buddy who runs a show called Death Drive Radio on somewhere in, I think, South Carolina is where they're at, asked 2 questions: lamest kill in a major franchise, and favorite kill in a major franchise. I have a favorite immediately, but like a lame one's gonna.
The lame one's hard because I feel like most of them are lame, if that makes sense. Like just stabbing someone in the chest, or like, some of the older movies that we see, even people die from things you definitely can't die from, like getting hit in the back with a shillelagh. You know what I mean? So like lamest for me is really hard. Like,
so when I hear like major franchise, like the first things that come to mind are like obviously like the Friday the 13th, or like Nightmare on Elm Street, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And like I feel like the Scream ones for the most part are, like you said, kind of lame because a lot of them are just somebody being like stabbed or whatever.
yeah.
My favorite one, obviously, Jason X, when it's Jason in the hologram thing, just redoing the sleeping bag kill over and over and over again.
That was mine too. Like, originally I wrote some, and then I realized it was a franchise. So, I haven't really seen a ton of franchises that makes me feel comfortable like picking something really, but that one is like one that has always stuck out in my mind. Or if I need to pick my own, I'm gonna say Michael McDonald getting his face steamed off in Leprechaun.
I'm trying to think of something that would be lamest.
I mean,
I
yeah.
feel like almost anything, any of the like the because like Friday the Third, not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street has some like real goofy shit towards the end, where it became more like cartoony.
Yeah.
Um,
Some
oh god, what were you gonna say?
I don't know that this counts because it's like technically I'm just gonna say it anyways. There's a scene in the Scream TV series that was like pretty gnarly that like whenever I saw it, I was like I like made some kind of like audible noise to try and like stave Chris from looking at the TV. So immediately he looked and he was like gross and it was like I think it might have been like in the first episode of one of the series, but it was just like very abrupt where this guy like got in his car and then somebody like put a bag over their head but then like slit their throat so the bag was like filling up with blood and it just was like super gnarly. And I know like whenever we go through movies we're always like, yeah, this is a cool kill and whatever, but like for me when I think about most of them, it's like, you know, Michael stabbing people with his knife and
Yeah, I feel
like
like almost anything that happened in like a Halloween movie's sort of lame because that's pretty much all it is.
I do like whenever somebody gets like stabbed, but they're like held in place somewhere, so like
Yeah.
up on a wall or something, because that sounds like it would just be really awful. And I don't know.
Do you have five favorite scrams slash metalcore splits?
I have one.
My friend Ben asked that, and I was like, Katie, I think this is for you.
I don't. First of all, Scrams is like screamo, right?
Yeah, like
Or like
it's a
okay.
term that like people started using for kind of like original screamo when everyone was started being like, screamo like saves the day.
Okay, well, so I don't know if mine technically counts because, like, I feel like that's hard too because bands that I used to call that are, like, no longer that anymore. If that,
Yeah,
like, but, and I also realized that I, like, almost have never listened to a split in my whole life. So
that
I'm gonna go with 2003's Thrice Thursday split for Under a Killing Moon and For the Workforce Drowning.
off the top of my head, Reversal of Man Combat Wounded Veteran split. Um, Frail Body, Infant Island, Diana Krall's Massanera four-way split's really good. Fuck. Gift from God, Vane split is very good. Gift from God has the worst band name of all time, but
Yeah, it's not great
are
sounding.
super good band. Coma Regalia's split, like they had a four-way split with like uh two bands whose names I can't remember. I think Indisposed is on it, but Sanagi, Sangai, I forget their name. Like some Japanese name that's uh Ryan from Closer is in. That's really good. Um, almost anything Coma Regalia has done since they do like 8 splits a year. Um, Swallow's Nest and Crowning split is also very good. That's what 4. I don't know. Any of the splits I Hate Sex did are also very good. Bonus points. The four-way split by Life in Vacuum Canyons, Crowning, and Hundreds of AU is also very good. I think all those are on Bandcamp except the Reversal of Man one. So actually, that might be on there too. I don't know.
Everyone's like, "What are you
Yeah, nobody.
saying?"
There's like maybe like 2 people listening that have any idea what I'm talking about. So, all right. Do you want to go through your questions, and I'll save my last 4.
Okay. Let's see. Deanna from Chat Cemetery wants to know, what is your favorite bad Stephen King movie?
Oh, Thinner. Easy.
You. I definitely have to go with the movie. It's technically a mini series, but I'm just gonna call it a movie that I went on her show to talk about, which is Rose Red, because I love it so much and it is very bad.
I
But I legit love it.
I feel like Maximum Overdrive is up there for me too, but I have to be specifically in the mood to watch Maximum Overdrive. Like, why?
Right.
When we did it for the podcast, I was just not in the mood, and I was like, "This movie's garbage." But then, like, I don't know, if I'm like, I kind of want to watch Maximum Overdrive, then I'm like super into it. But I feel like I could probably put on Thinner and just have it in the background and be like, I like this because
I
very
never want to
stupid.
watch Thinner again, ever. But Rose Red I could watch easily at any time. I feel like also I don't know that I would technically count this as a bad movie, but I really like Silver Bullet. I've watched it many times.
Yeah, Silver Bullet is good.
Yeah. But no, I never want to watch Thinner again. I never want to watch The Mangler.
Oh, yeah, The Mangler was rough.
I don't know if she's done all of them, but I know she did some of the sequels too, and I just can't imagine.
Yeah, I saw she did 2 recently, which I feel like at some point I'll watch because I think Lance Hendrickson's in it, but...
I think so, yeah. Let's see.
More pulsating pies.
No, less. The Pit Goddess wants to know, how did y'all meet?
Twitter and Instagram, basically.
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram via my friend Cece, who met you on LiveJournal.
Yeah, I met Cece through the band Breaking Pangea, and then I met you through her,
and I met her from working at Hot Topic.
Yeah, I think we met through an Instagram post that you commented on back when your Instagram name was Katie Sets Fire.
Yeah.
And then
it's longer.
Yeah. And then Kit and I just met on through metal Twitter, basically. And then I met him in person at Migration Fest 4 years ago. No, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And then I met you in person at your wedding.
Yeah, pretty weird. And I have not met Kit, so he might be fake. I don't know.
He is.
Okay, my friend Adam asks the following 3 questions. The first one is, I actually don't know my answer to this. In a remake of Misery, who plays the 2 main roles?
All right, so I would have to do somebody current, but also kind of the that middle age bracket.
Yeah, which is the thing I'm having a hard time, because also I feel it's hard to pick people. I don't feel like we have a Kathy Bates right now. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like if they were gonna remake it, I bet they would go younger and they would be late 20s, maybe early 30s, as opposed to kind of I guess even if they weren't, they look like they're in their 40s and that.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna go with Toni Collette.
Okay.
Because I love her, and I don't know.
I was gonna ask, do you reverse the gender roles, but I feel like you can't do that with that movie. Then it just becomes way nefarious.
Then it's just a typical true crime situation.
I'm also extremely out of touch with pop culture people. I don't
if they're
anytime I see people talking about sort of shit that young people these days find popular now, I'm I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all right. I'm gonna go for this. It's gonna be Not good. Kathy Bates'
Okay.
character, Andy Samberg. Who's the other
Okay.
guy? James Caan?
Paul Sheldon. Wait,
Why did
what?
I think it was James Caan that was in it?
I don't know.
Alright. The author that's kidnapped. Stephen King. Stephen King has to play the author in it. So it's Andy Samberg and Stephen King.
Okay, I'd watch that movie, but I don't know. I can't really like. I think the thing that works for me with Misery is that like Kathy Bates and I'm sorry, Paul Sheldon, his real name. It is James.
I thought so, but I was like, as I
I'm
said it, I
having
was like, this doesn't sound right.
no, I'm having such a moment. His name is Paul Sheldon in the movie. I feel like I can't think of two actors that are of their caliber for at the time because I feel like the reason it worked is because of who they picked for the cast. And I still feel like Toni Collette could do. I would like to see her do the cockadoodie like lady. I feel like she could. I feel like she is sort of getting typecast at this point though. So, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I love her, so it's fine. And I would pick Toni Collette and Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think if I was gonna make like a serious, I would do like, shit, what's her name from Us and fuck, Lupita something. I can't think of the rest.
Luongo?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd have her as like the Kathy Bates character, and then I don't know, somebody
Yeah,
else.
that's a good pick.
Like I feel like that's like it feels easier to cast like the Kathy Bates role than it is like the James Caan role for me.
Well, and I would argue that her role is more important because he's just
Yeah.
like a dude. Throw any dude there.
Lupita and Andy Samberg. Done.
Okay, yes. Love it. Love it. What a weird movie that would be.
That would be amazing.
Jordan Peele, give us a call. Okay, he says Trick or Treat versus Chucky. I think he meant Sam. Sam versus Chucky.
Oh, Chucky.
Box office gold or disaster. So he's asking,
like if
would
they
that
made
be
a
a
movie.
good movie?
Meh, hard pass.
I think no because wait, did you pick like you think Chucky would win?
No, I thought he was asking who you like better at first. So
Oh, okay.
Chucky.
No,
I think Chucky would win either way, but
I don't think so because Sam is like a demon
yeah, but Chucky
child thing.
Chucky
creature.
also just kind of
Chucky
like
is
doesn't die either, so. And I feel
but
like
he's
Chucky's infinitely more
adult.
like brutal. Because isn't Sam supposed to be like a little kid?
He's not though. He just like looks like it.
But I thought he had like kind of like the demeanor still of like a little kid.
Well, he doesn't like. I mean, I can see why you're saying that because like he doesn't talk. He's got his like lollipop. He's just like in his cute little costume, but he's and he plays by like you play it by the rules of Halloween or he'll like kill you or whatever. But like, I don't know. I think that to me it was like an instant that I thought Sam would win, but I guess you don't really see him do a lot of stuff in the. He just kind of like observes people getting their shit kicked in. So
currently in the storyline, there are like 5 people at least with like that Chucky's like in control of. So because he like in a Cult of Chucky, he's just like he's able to like put himself into more than one body at a time. So there's just like a bunch of people that are currently Chucky and Tiffany. So
like numbers maybe.
Yeah,
he's like
I don't know. In my mind, I feel like just like Chucky would just win either way. But I don't know. I guess I've also had like 7 movies of Chucky killing people, and just one of like that I barely like of Sam. doing stuff.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed he would win because he's like a demon thing, but like, I don't know. If Chucky's not breaking the rules of Halloween, he wouldn't fight him anyway, or whatever. So like, I don't know. Now maybe I kind of want the movie because I can imagine Chucky just being like, "Hey, prick, look at me. I'm not carving this jack-o'-lantern or some shit," and then they would fight. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be very weird because I don't think Chucky's ever done anything Halloween related.
No, yeah, they're not really
Child's Play
in the.
is a Christmas movie.
Yes, I agree with that.
I can't remember if it's Christmas or his birthday.
Oh no, it's his birthday.
Well, it's
It
still
is
a
his
Christmas
birthday.
movie to me.
It's like snowing and shit though, so I'm just gonna say his birthday is by Christmas.
Yeah,
Who
it's
cares?
December 24th.
That's right. And then his last question is, if a serial killer wore a politician's mask, which politician should he choose?
Oh, Ted Cruz.
Are you just saying
Ted Cruz
that
is
because
already
of the Zodiac killer shit? Oh
no,
my
I just
God.
think Ted Cruz looks like a serial killer.
I'm not a politician, but I'm going to say John Mayer because he's also a serial killer of women. I'm a fan of the Nixon masks. I think they're just so ridiculous looking.
I mean,
But
pretty much all politicians of a certain level specifically are pretty much responsible for the deaths of hundreds of people at least, so they're all pretty much serial killers, so take your pick, but Ted Cruz just looks like he would be. Also Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I don't know. I also like the idea of somebody picking a like one of the presidents in the middle, like that nobody knows who they are. So then it's just like
Jimmy Carter.
It just looks like yeah, or like somebody colonial. I don't even know, Henry James, or I don't think that's a.
Who was the president that died after like a month in office?
Yeah, something like that. That just like people would not even like know who they are. To me, sounds funny. I think that's it for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jensen Harper on Instagram asked, "What are y'all's favorite movie genres besides horror? Favorite movie from that genre?"
Okay, this is the one where I was like, I've never seen a movie in my whole life. I have no idea.
I mean, mine is definitely probably comedy. It'd be hard to narrow down. I don't know. I have like, I'd say at least in comedy, favorite movies, probably like Hot Rod and Pop Star are definitely up there. Airheads has been like one of my favorite movies since I was a teenager. It does not hold up, and I'm pretty sure the only reason I still like it is because I used to watch it all the time when I was younger. But Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald.
I don't think I've seen that.
It does not hold up in almost any sense. But even though Norm Macdonald is kind of a shitty person now, I still find him funny from like when he was on SNL and shit. So I don't know. I have like a soft spot for that movie, even though there's some not great language in it.
Ooh.
I mean, it was like a early '90s comedy. It's pretty much comes with the territory at that point.
Yeah. We were watching Three Ninjas the other day, and even there was some stuff in that I was like,
Yeah. I also like, I definitely am like, I like drama movies a lot, which I guess I probably don't talk about on here very often. But like, I mean, things like, I really like Paul Thomas Anderson movies, so like Boogie Nights and like Punch Drunk Love and Magnolia, There Will Be Blood. Like, I like pretty much everything I've seen he's directed. Really like Dancer in the Dark, even though I've like watch it maybe once a year because it just like ruins my week. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't totally watch a lot of action stuff unless it's for the podcast or a comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen like all the Marvel stuff, obviously. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I was picking a favorite, though, it would just be like comedy. But I feel like I have a very distinct comedy taste, like where it's either like Kevin Smith stuff or like very stupid Lonely Island stuff.
Yeah. Um, I just can't. I don't even know. Like, mostly, I would say that like most of the stuff that I watch, even if it's not horror directly, it's got something in it. Like, um,
What
so maybe I would just say like paranormal. Like, I'm trying to think of a collection of things that I like that's in a genre not related to like super like paranormal or horror at all.
well,
Like I
but
like
like I know you like Hot Rod.
yeah, but I wouldn't really say I like comedy movies.
Well, I was trying to even like I guess not answering your favorite movie genre besides horror, but like, what are some other comedy movies you like?
Uh mm, dude, I don't know. I like Green
I thought you were
Hornet.
gonna say, "Dude, where's my car?"
I did like that movie at the time. I definitely don't think I would now. Like, I don't know. I like detective stuff, like private
Okay,
detective. Like specifically my favorite genre is like paranormal detective, if that makes sense, but like there's not a lot of good stuff in that category that I could pick out a best movie. Like, because I feel like I either watch like horror or something related to horror or a comic book movie or like true crime stuff. That's like all I watch essentially. So like I really liked Nightcrawler. My favorite genre is Jake Gyllenhaal
yeah,
movies.
I was
Can I
gonna
say
say,
that?
yeah,
Uh,
but then you have to pick your favorite movie from that genre.
Donnie Darko.
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Great movie. Zodiac, great movie. The Good Girl, great movie. Bubble Boy. That's a comedy. I like Bubble Boy. Um,
I have not seen any of these movies.
you haven't, what? Really?
Yeah, I
Wow,
don't think I've seen a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal movies.
man. Um, but I do like I've said this on like any podcast ever. I do like animated stuff, but a lot of times that tends to be kind of like darker themes, like, you know, Paranorman, Coraline, that kind of thing.
Well, that
Um,
ties into the next question.
okay.
What are Katie's favorite cartoons slash anime? I heard y'all say she liked anime once from Spiked Spiegel on Instagram.
Um, yeah, I do like anime, but I'm like a curmudgeon. I only like old anime. So like when I was in like high school and like early college, I watched a lot of anime. So um their name is actually a play off of one of my favorite anime, which of course is Cowboy Bebop. I feel like that's a staple for anybody like my age though, because that was like back when Cartoon Network was playing stuff like that. So like obviously Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z are like my favorites because that's what got me into anime to begin with. I really like Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is like made a comeback and now all of a sudden people are like into it, so that's pretty cool. Code Geass. I don't know. I really liked anything from like the early 2000s and 90s. But I don't really like the last couple of years I've tried to like whenever we went to Japan, was that still last year?
Yeah, it was like a year and a half, give or take.
Time means nothing to
Cause
me.
it was like last
No, it
like summer, right?
it was before we moved here and we've lived here for a year. So yeah. Anyways, when we went to Japan, I kind of was like, okay, well, I want to, you know, because obviously I was in Japan, so I was like, I want to get back into anime, and I tried to watch some of the newer stuff, and like I just can't do it anymore. It's like just not, I don't know, it's just not good.
I've watched like
Um,
3 anime things ever, and only really liked one of them. So,
What was it?
One Punch Man.
Oh, I hate One
I
Punch
liked
Man.
One Punch Man. I watched all of High School of the Dead,
Yikes.
which was not good. And then, I mean, I guess I take it back. I guess if you count like Studio Ghibli stuff,
Yeah, I feel
I've
like,
seen like a handful of
yeah,
those from
yeah.
like I saw like Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service are the first 2 that come to mind, which they're fine. Like I like a lot of that stuff. Like I really like the animation style. I just don't care about the story.
Right. Um, yeah, we obviously, goes without saying because both my husband and I have Ghibli tattoos. So, um, but I don't know. There's like some pretty cool horror ones that are older, like Hellgirl, Vampire Princess Miu, Lane, where like I was really into those because they can do stuff that like movies can't do, and it just like looks awesome because it's like a cartoon. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Um, but but yeah, I would say like I still have a little bit of my anime collection, and most of it is what I just listed. So
All right, I have 2 more. Um, Flick Chicks official on Instagram asked favorite ice cream flavor.
mint chocolate chip.
Gross. Um, I think if you go just like a non-brand specific flavor, probably like I don't know, like a generic cookie dough or cookies and cream. But specifically the oh shit, what's that brand name?
Ben and Jerry's.
No, there's like a company that does like
Halo?
what is it?
Halo?
Yes, I think because they do like the dairy free stuff too. Is it Halo?
Yeah.
Their peanut butter cup one, incredible.
I don't know, or it's not so delicious. Halo, I feel like, is the one that everyone likes, and I've tried a few of them and like haven't liked
Well,
them.
Halo
So
like is I think like they do like
it's
less
like low
like
calorie.
less sugar and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I love ice cream, so as
Same.
long as it's not like my husband's favorite is Cherry Garcia, and I hate
That
it.
sounds terrible.
I just there's like specific things I don't like that if it's in the ice cream, I'll hate it. Like I don't like toffee or like butter pecan rum kind of shit, but like almost anything else I'll get down on. One of my favorite I tried is um Berry Pie
Hmm.
by I'm trying to think. So Berries are like from Oregon. They were like created in Oregon, and the story behind them is like super interesting. But I love Berries so much. And there's this one brand here, and I'm blanking on what it's called, but I don't think they have them on the East Coast. And they make like a lot of flavors of ice cream that are like different kinds of pie. So it has like pie crust pieces in it, and it's so freaking good.
That sounds good.
But yeah, no, I love ice cream. I love any ice cream. But mint chocolate chip has been my favorite since I was like young. So that's what I have to go with. But I really do, I think, gravitate towards like cookies and cream as well.
All right. Erica, for the last question, Erica from Customers also watched an Unsung Horror, asked, what is the best film you've watched this year? Just, something that was new to you this year.
Ooh.
I have a couple, I think, off the top of my head. Color Out of Space and Impedagore are probably my 2 favorite. Becky was also really kind of fun. Let's see.
Again, I can't think of a single movie
That
I've
Leap of
ever
Faith
seen.
documentary was good.
Yeah, I liked that.
What else did I watch this year that was like new?
I feel like I've watched a lot more this year than I have like in previous years, and a lot of it has just not stood out a lot. So I'm trying to think of something that like actually stood out.
Let's see. Palm Springs was good.
Yeah, I liked Palm Springs a lot.
What else did I watch? I'm trying to think of something I watched like
Manford?
early. Yeah, Manborg was new this year. That was good. Did I watch The Fanatic this year?
I think that was
Maybe it
last year.
trash.
Okay, I technically saw Encino Man for the first time this year, and I really liked that one. Yeah, so I guess like going back to the genre, I love like early 90s or 80s dumb stuff. Like Encino Man's totally a comedy. And like or like Disney Channel shit I love. Like Brink, one of my all-time favorite movies that I still watch all the time. But that's like more nostalgia, right? So like is nostalgia movies a genre?
I mean, I don't know if it counts as nostalgia if like it was a first time watch this year.
No, I meant just for like the genre question. Like what do you like to watch that's not horror?
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. That was part of my thing with Dirty Work was like pretty much only like it at this point because I'm familiar with it.
I saw no, that's a lie. Shit.
Did I watch Paranormal Sex Tape this year? Or was that last year? That movie sucked.
I'm gonna go with we saw Velocipaster this year. I'm gonna go with Velocipaster. I saw Abominable for the first time barely this year. I really liked that one, and also Tammy and the T-Rex.
Freezer Burn.
No. I'm like every time I look through my shelf and I see that, like I'm like, what am I gonna do with this shit?
Yeah, keep it forever. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, the two best I've probably watched this year were Color Out of Space and Pedagore. I watched Heat this year for the first time. That movie's perfect, so maybe Heat. Yeah, those are probably my picks. Bamborg's
well,
up there,
I can't. I'm sure some of the Shudder stuff I liked.
I mean, you seem to like Mortuary Collection a lot.
I wouldn't really say that's at the top of best movies I've seen, though. Like, I liked it for what it was. I liked Scare Package, obviously.
Hot Rod, best movie every year.
I mean, true.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, that's the end of questions. So, figure we don't have to do. I don't have any recommendations or anything like that. Just watch Hot Rod. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, go watch any of the good stuff that we talked about.
Watch Hot Rod and think about Andy Samberg playing Kathy Bates.
I will think about that. I just threw my phone. I was so excited.
All right. I don't have any of my notes pulled up. Join our Patreon when this is out. We just released our Jean-Claude Van Damme episode on Patreon.
It's a good one.
Patreon.com/IBSufferPodcast. We have merch at storefrontier.com/IBSuffer. Instagram at IHYSPod. No, that's Twitter. Instagram is I Hope You Suffer Podcast.
If you type I Hope You Suffer into anything, we'll come up.
Or
even Google, because I Googled us.
Or you'll
by accident.
You have to put in podcast or you'll just get the AFI song.
Well.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping in tonight, Kit.
Oh man, we forgot we were going to try and answer what he would say. The answer for everything for him is Event Horizon.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Event Horizon and Terrifier. Kit's favorite movies.
Yes.
Alright. I hope you suffer, but why?
We've said so many things I don't even know what to reference.
Just Guerrilla Radio. Something Guerrilla
No.
Radio.
I think we should let that one go.
Never.
She